Hey everybody, welcome to Nate's Pop-Up Podcast. I'm Nate. Today I am sitting with Thane Hunt of Peke Labs. It's spelled Peke. Now I used to say Peke,
Yeah,
but that's not right.
we've heard a lot. We've heard PK, we've heard Peck, and it was 4 letters. It was supposed to be simple, but what can you do? Yeah.
It just got past people.
Yeah, exactly. And it's PEKE for potential energy and kinetic energy. So technically it should be like Peke or something like that. So,
We'll throw an accent on there,
Yeah,
a little widget on the E.
yep.
Well, the first thing I want to do is make the introduction, but more so than that, I want to give you the opportunity to tell everybody who's watching what Peke Labs, see, there you go, what Peke Labs is doing, what it's all about. Thane, the floor is yours.
Thank you. All right. So yeah, a lot to talk about, but briefly, we are building physical sensors that you wear on your body that can detect motion of your body that translates into intent, and that intent can be used for AI systems. So for example, right now you might say, "Hey Alexa," or something like that to get the attention of your phone or your smart speaker or something like that. With our technology, you can just move your hand in a certain way, or you can double pinch, or you can move your fingers, or do a lot of different combinations. You can do it of your hand, you can do it of your legs, you can do it of your neck. To us, it's all the same. We can measure it anywhere. And those motions provide a whole parallel path of data context that, when used in combination with more traditional input methods like keyboard, mice, and more recently voice, you get a much more rich channel of communication between yourself and the computer. And this just makes the interface a lot more frictionless. It makes it less verbal, which can be nice for public environments. And it's also just more physically interesting and stimulating to physically work with your system almost like you're a composer, as opposed to sitting slouched over your desk 8 hours a day.
Interesting. So the company, let me ask you this. The problem you're trying to solve, I mean, is it a matter of interface? Is that what the focus of the problem you're trying to solve is with Peke?
Yeah, I would say that the problem that we're trying to solve is that quality of life should always improve anytime it's convenient to do it for the masses. And we see an opportunity to improve it again. So if you were pitching putting screens on the back of airport of seats on planes, right? Like what was critical about that? But now when you fly a plane, I won't name any airlines that should have those and do not, right? It's actually really outrageous, even though there was a time when a newspaper was kind of how you got through the flight. Another similar example is the iPhone really was just a more streamlined version of it. We had computers that could play videos. We had cell phones that could make conversation, that could text and call and do all of those things. But there was an opportunity to improve quality of life by making it faster, more snappy, more convenient, more beautiful, more ergonomic, and more enjoyable. And if you take any one of those things, a good investor will say, yeah, but how does that turn into a $1 billion company? But when you take the sum of all of those improvements and you wrap it up and you make it an emotional experience that they have to pay and purchase in order to use, you have an immense amount of value, and you have your consumers selling to each other. There's a lot of successful companies that work on reputation and word of mouth, because when you have this product, your life is better. And it can be hard to reduce it to metrics. For example, with our technology, you can reduce your screen time by over 50%. Which is a huge problem that a lot of people have, because now you're not reaching nervously for your phone every few seconds. You have your AirPods in or your headphones in, and you can make a gesture and ask about notifications. Did that person call me? Is my pizza here? Is that car here to pick me up? All of those types of things. Did I miss Mother's Day? There's all these little dozens of touch points on our devices every day that sum up in time and just take so much out of our lives. And the technology that Peke Labs is creating enables you to just get into and out of a tech interaction in 1/1000, right? Call my Uber, right? It's way better. And once more people see this, everyone will agree, and no one will want to go back to the way things were. So that's the problem we're solving.
That's very, very cool. We were talking about the last time we were here was like what I wouldn't give to be if I'm on the treadmill and I got, listening to my headphones, and all of a sudden a clunker song comes up, and it's like all the wind just comes right out of the sails. What I wouldn't give to just be able to swipe rather than reach for the phone and damn near fall down.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. We can do it. Another exciting area is on bicycles. It's amazing how much technology has gone for bicycles, has gone everywhere except for where you want it to be. On one hand, you can attach a computer permanently to your bike if you're really serious, or you can put it on your helmet and reach up and touch. But it's amazing how much technology takes your hand. It requires your hand. And we have like two things on Earth that we're controlling things with, right? Our mouths and our hands. And it makes more sense to say, okay, we're going to use your hand, but just a little bit of it. So you reach off the handlebar and do this and skip the song that way. It's safer. For motorcyclists, it's a no-brainer. Another area where we get a lot of excitement is in the cars, right? So you're driving through Boston and you're like me, where you grew up with GPSs and you don't actually know how Boston's laid out. You can barely point it out on a map. And now you're trying to navigate and figure out Storrow to 3 North or whatever. And you're trying to tell this guy that you're meeting that you might be a few minutes late, but now you're trying to switch back and forth between Google and iMessage before the light turns green, and now you're panicking and you took a left and it sucks. So it's amazing that in cars you just don't be like, hey, my map, bring me my map now. This is an emergency. This is pulling the thing on the train, whatever that's called, steam whistle. I need to see this critical thing now. And there are so many moments where you see people panicking at airports. Where's my Apple Wallet? Where's my Apple Wallet? I need to see my ticket, right? I can't find it, right? And so many people live with this. So if you had these panic gestures, let's talk about one tiny use case. If you have a panic gesture that's connected to the thing that you might care most about. I'm in the car. What's my panic, right? It's the GPS. If I'm at an airport, what's my panic, right? It's my ticket. It's my gate number. And that context, that geo, that what you're doing, there's so many cool companies right now ensuring that we have a robust fabric of context that companies like Peke Labs can use to set the stage for that when we do one of 12 unique gestures, it automatically sums up calls up the thing that you needed most in that moment. And at first, it won't be perfect, but as time goes by and the data sets improve, it's going to feel very frustrating when you have to use a phone traditionally, where you have to click through these apps and swipe around and go into a folder. It'll just be a disaster. So this is better, and these are the kind of things that you can do with it. So right now, it's low friction things that just make your life better moment to moment. But when you zoom out for a week, you're like, how did I ever live without this? I mean, this is the smartphone. Leave your smart home at home for a day and see how it feels.
Yeah, I don't want to do that right now.
No, don't.
No, that wouldn't go well. So Peke Labs, correct me if I'm mistaken, but the company's been in existence for about 18 months or so, right?
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay. So when you started it, before you started it, as you were getting ready and you were thinking about starting the company, what was your why? What was your why? What led you to determining, okay, I see this problem, there's something I can do about it, and okay, the hell with it, I'm starting the company.
Yeah.
How did that go?
Yeah, so there's the kind of personal answer and then the more brass tacks answer. And the personal answer is that ever since I was very young, I had this thing where and everyone, they're going to say, okay, this guy thinks he's so great. But like, I'm always thinking about new ideas and new things that I could build. I don't see it like work. I see it as very cathartic. My life is kind of just goofing off in that respect, where I want something to exist and I can kind of make it exist most of the time pretty well, and I enjoy that. But one thing that always stopped me was that I always had too many things going on, and it was hard to get things done. And that was because the tools that I had, whether it was computer-aided design, where you draw mechanical drawings of parts to 3D print to be parts of products, that's slow. Designing circuit boards is slow. Typing an email is slow. Doing research on which HR software to buy for your company is slow. And I always just found this, like, I would be on the keyboards, and I'm also not super coordinated. So I'd be on the keyboards, and I was like, darn, I just want to, be some kind of alien from a movie where I shove my hands into this computer, and there's this gelatinous interface, and I glow a little bit blue, and then there's a seamless connection between mind and computers, and I have a high bandwidth, and all of a sudden 6 projects are moving forwards all at the same time. And I just feel like I'm 100 years in the past for where I want it to be. And it was always interfaces, like the mouse and the keyboard, 50 years old or something like that now, and no improvements, right? Voice you can't use, it's too socially stigmatized in public spaces. So what was the option? So interfaces were something I always struggled with. And I didn't really put my finger on that. What I did was I bought special keyboards. I set up my ergonomics well. I set up like Stream Decks, which is just a little USB thing that has a bunch of buttons on it, which you can set as shortcuts to different apps. So I set up voice shortcuts. I did everything I could to make my process as streamlined as possible. But I realized that the average person, or a person maybe with less time on their hands than myself, wasn't going to build this unique creator's setup to be able to do things quickly and instantly. And a lot of people who looked at my setup envied it, but they were like, I'm not spending the $3,000 and writing all this custom software to do all of this. And I wish that I could just have a little widget that gave me 85% of that experience for something that feels cost approachable and I can understand it and I don't have to write code. And that getting that feedback over and over and over again is what has kept me really, really motivated to keep working on Peke Labs and to create interfaces so that at least people like me who just have a lot to say, as you can already see, can get it out more quickly and more streamlined. The thing that actually kicked me, that got me working on this, was I was building a prosthetic hand for amputees. That's another area where I like to work. And it was going to be the ultimate hand, lighter weight, mechanical multiplexer, meaning that it just has one motor but can still do multiple grasps. And it was going to solve all the problems in the industry and be like, you're not going to become rich that way, but that's not the goal, right? It's just to give everyone who needs a hand a better hand than they ever had. It's so cheap that they could just buy it, right? You don't have to go and spend $20,000 through your insurance company and hope that they reimburse it. But you build that hand, and I start talking to some of my friends who are amputees, who I knew from a previous job. And I said, okay, look at this hand. And they said, no, we don't want it, because every year there's more startups building hands that have more motors and more complexities. And pretty soon they can play the piano and tie a shoelace, but they're still controlled with one input, like a space bar, basically. They have open and close. And if you tense in a certain way, you can change the channel and say, okay, now it's a three-jog chuck. Now you can tense a couple more times and turn it into a lateral grasp. And you can kind of change the TV channels, right? Volume only works on one channel at a time. So we have a channel changer. So that gives you just a few buttons that lets you control a lot of things. But the problem with that is it's sequential. You can't go tap, 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 tap to play a song, right, with your hand. You have to go first finger mode, tap, second finger mode, tap. So it's serial, it's not parallel. And that slows people down. And so they didn't want a new hand until we solved this. So I said, well, darn, I still really want to make my hand, but now this interface thing, I'm very obtuse about this. It was just a nuisance. I said, okay, let's just get this out of the way. I want to build this hand. So I made a new interface, a new thing, and it was just to unblock me. I was being willfully lazy, but what I came up with when I started showing it to people, you know, the recurring feedback was, well, this could be for everybody. I mean, not just amputees, but I mean, it could help amputees, but it could help so many people. And therefore, it is more responsible to start with something that's more venture scale, so as the capital exists, so the development can happen. And eventually we can serve amputees, which is one of my longer term goals, to really give their systems higher fidelity control. But right now, we are just focusing on interfaces, which are the beginning and end point of any technology. Doesn't matter whether you're using Apple or Android or whatever. You're interacting with a computer through a gateway. It's a touchscreen, it's a keyboard, it's a mouse, it's a microphone, it's a camera. So we're not an Apple iPhone startup. We're more like Logitech, right? Logitech has webcams and keyboards and mice everywhere, and they don't care about the battles of the gods between the large tech companies. They say no matter what happens, every company on earth will be buying truckfuls of our interface equipment to make the best use of this stuff. And that's where I see us going.
That's cool. So the whole idea for Peke actually came out of a feature from a robotic hand.
Yeah. I was just, because, what I say, if you could make it possible for someone with no fingers to tie their shoelaces, you should probably try to sell those shoelaces to everyone else also, because those are amazing shoelaces. Right, that's like Marty McFly stuff. Right. I mean, if you could do that, it's huge. And there's so much tech that started there. The electric toothbrush is a big one. So if you have reduced mobility, it helps. And then everyone wanted it. Closed captions were obviously for people who couldn't hear well or couldn't hear at all. And now everyone watches everything with it on. Many apps are defaulting them on now. So there's this amazing bit of history here on, hey, if you can make it work for the underserved minority, everyone flocks to it because it's probably easier.
You reverse engineered it. You reverse engineered the need.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Reverse engineered that.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it takes a lot of words to say, though. And so I'm actually very open to people in your community and all the, whoever sees this to write in and talk about like, hey, here's 15 use cases I can think of this. Because the biggest question we get is, what is the one killer app? And I'm really hesitant to offer that because I think it's an immensely blue sky opportunity. And we're starting in just a few places. But the need is felt when we take this device away from you after you've been using it.
You know what? I mean, just mentioning where you think that this community could help you out, I'm going to go to something that I ask all the people that I talk to, and that's community give and ask, and particularly the community ask. So I'll ask you first. What can the community do for you? Then what you can do for the community. But as far as what the community can do for you, it sounds like you just set the table. Where you tell them what you're looking for, and if you're watching this on LinkedIn, drop it in the comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, drop it in the comments. We're going to get you Thane's contact info on LinkedIn. You can connect with them direct. But since we're on the topic and it's fresh in your mind as to what exactly someone can do for you who's watching this, sock it to them.
Yeah, so we are making technology that you can wear and control stuff with it. Yes, your phone. Yes, your laptop. Yes, a robotic arm on an assembly. It could be anywhere. It could emergency stop a conveyor belt. You really can do anything you want with it. It's just a matter of connecting a few layers of software, which is not incredibly hard to do. I am really interested in a community of people who has the self-awareness to say, what is something that I do every day or every work day, whatever, can be play, it can be work, that I take for granted I have to do it this way. And when someone thinks about this, they say, wow, gesture control could make this better. So an example was everyone who buys an electric tea kettle, who drinks tea, has a eureka moment after the first time that they use it. They say, why the heck have I been making tea this way for this long? And just that electric tea kettle causes more delight than so many polished products, because you plug it in and you instantly get hot water. And you're like, wait, why was I 39 years old or however old you are when I got this for the first time? So what I'm excited about is insights from the community around, hey, I could use this. Someone I know could use this. I've already talked about a couple things like using it in the car, using it at the gym, using it for running, using it for athletic activities, using it at work, using it. Some people have talked about military applications with like hand signaling without making sound. There's so many applications. So those are the kind of what you do. But I'm really interested to hear like who would use it. And like, how exactly would they use it? And how bad do they want it? And what are they doing now? And why would this be better? One or all of those questions answered are incredibly useful community insights for me to have.
That's good. Let's flip it around. What do you think you would be able to do for the community at large? And this might tie into where the company is now. You're 18 months in. I know that as with many tech companies, 18 months, you're on the hunt. You're looking for fundraising. You may be looking to hire. I could have sworn I saw something where you might be actually. Oh yeah, we're
hiring. Yep. Yeah. So that's the other thing, is that if you are an absolute whiz with full stack development of particular interest, are like iOS and Android developers who you're like, hey, I have a lot of experience like taking Bluetooth messages from hardware and doing stuff with that onboard the phone, not in the cloud, and then handling all of those endpoints, and you have a lot of experience in that type of domain, you should definitely reach out, because what we're offering is a very fun, very interesting opportunity. I would need to talk to you more in person about it, but it is ridiculously cool stuff. Some of the pilots we're looking into, let's just say you'd have to be in some pretty special situations to get access to touch the kind of technology that we're getting to pilot with. And I can't say all of it, but if you have a thirst to work on tech that is normally very gatekept, you should reach out, because these are good, juicy, hard problems that will put you on your toes and will be harder than what you've done before. And it's kicking my butt also. So I'm not trying to say that you will have a hard time with it. I'm saying I'm also having a hard time with it. So reach out and let me know if you're looking for a really big challenge. It is a paid position with a hybrid, flexible work thing within benefits and all that other stuff. But you have to reach out to learn more.
So there's the community ask. I mean, hey, jobs. There you go. You mentioned, I think that I saw this. You're either your next, call it your next appearance somewhere. Are you doing a job fair or something? Are you?
Yeah. So there's the mass robotics job fair in a couple of weeks.
When is that? Because if you're not seeing it,
it's in September. Mass robotics job career fair in September. The exact date salute puts me. I'm sure we can put it in the.
Well, there's
a
plug. Yeah, we just like plug Mass Robotics website. I'm sure it's on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Mass Robotics, plug.
Yeah. We have resident office there, so we really know that community well, and we like them a lot.
That's awesome. So there you go, folks. It's up for grabs. If you are interested in the position, like I said, you can drop in the comments whatever channel you're watching this on, or go to Mass Robotics website, and they will be able to tell you when the job.
Yep. Yeah, I want to say it's late. Like I want to say, it feels like
it's September, right?
Late September.
Yeah, late September.
We'll see. There's a lot of dates in my head right now. So.
Yeah. So now, having gone through the community give and ask, the $24,000 question, or the $24 million question, or the $2.4 million question, you're probably raising.
Keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep hiking it up.
Yeah.
What I want to do at this point is, because there will be people watching, there will be people who are funders watching this.
Yeah.
I want to give you the opportunity to give them your 2-minute pitch. If you're sitting in front of a VC right now and you're pitching for dollars, go.
All right. Wow, this is great. So it's hard for it not to feel stale sometimes because I talk about this so much. So, all right. So the investment opportunity is a company who is creating the frontier technology that will create wearable technology that, when used in combination with traditional input devices like keyboards and mice and microphones and cameras, will create a very context-heavy channel of communication between people and computers. So the hardware that we make and will sell is an enabler to get us access to a very, very big data play. And that data involves people's physical motion. So if you look around, I'm going to hesitate to say any other company names, but there are several companies who have already done a good job harnessing certain aspects of motion data. And they're looking into selling those to ad tech companies so that they can gauge your emotional response to ads that are fed to your TV, kind of dystopian stuff like that. So, but there's a lot of other things that we can do with that data. And the technology that our building will give us right of first refusal on what we do with it. Big tech companies right now, like Amazon and Meta, are very excited to get outside of the walled gardens set by some of the large smart device manufacturers like Apple and Samsung. They don't want to be regulated by their app stores. They don't want to be able to have these companies turn off access to certain sensors and data and telemetry. They're very excited. These large companies like Meta and Amazon and Samsung and all these other companies are very excited to find low-cost devices that give them rich data with long battery lives that, when used by people, give them that high bandwidth communication and let them know what's actually happening. Peke Labs is setting itself up to be the gatekeeper of all of that data, because every interaction with a Peke Labs device is more seamless, easier, lower friction than using AI-based wake words or using it on your phone on a bright sunny day like today. So what you're basically investing in is a company who is going to have an immense capability of connecting people's physical intents to how they moved and what they want. And that data can be used and bought by other companies ethically to really improve user experiences. So we're building hardware now because owning your hardware is the only way to truly own your data. And there aren't enough hardware companies that have executed successfully to this point. Apple is a hardware company. Samsung is a hardware company. Huawei, LG, these are hardware companies. When you build the hardware, you control the software. Peke Labs is going to control the hardware and the software behind the AI gesture-powered revolution. So that's what our company is doing right now. We're about a month away from releasing our first dev kit to a sign-up list of users who will, they're primarily developers, and they're exploring some use cases that are exciting to them. Within a month and a half of that telemetry, we're actually doing a soft launch with an invite-only list. And the aim is by July of 2026 to have a device that is mass available for anyone to use. We already have factory signed. We already have all the industrial design worked out. We have the software base chugging along, and everyone who uses this thing is really enjoying themselves. So this is going to be big. And if you're interested in this, at least at all, you should at least get 15 minutes on our calendar so I can walk you through some demo stuff, some insider information, exclusive access to take a peek at our very big IP portfolio, which is full of a lot of really exciting stuff that's already caught the attention of some big companies. So yeah, just let me know, and that's pretty much it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. Yeah. Once again, well, kind of like the same conduits. Yeah, I mean, if you're an investor, you're probably not dropping something in YouTube in the comments, but if you are interested in finding out more, you can contact Thane through LinkedIn. Do you have like I don't know if like an investor,
Yeah. If you go to our website at www.pekelabs.com, that's PEKE labs.com, there's a for investors section that you can find that has a little bit of teaser information. But if you use the form to reach out to us, we can give you a password that gets you access to all kinds of cool, juicy stuff. It's a pretty abundant data room. So you can, if this is how you work, you can pre-screen us out before ever having to talk to me. So you can check it out. But I put the information out there because I'm very proud of what we've done, and it works well, and everyone should know about it.
Excellent. So I hope they all heard that over the Harley that just went by.
Oh, yeah, it was a real hog.
Chopper.
Yeah.
Jesus. As we're coming up towards the end of the podcast, coming up on about a half hour, I'll leave you with the last word. If there's anything left unsaid, anything we didn't touch base, anything that you want to say before we wrap it up, go for broke.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. So building a hardware company is hard. Right now, it's very attractive to be in the purely software business. However, hardware is a moat. It being hard is a filter that stops a lot of other companies from doing the same thing. And we're doing it, and we're doing it well. We are very fortunate. I feel very fortunate that the core concept of our technology works well. And that has enabled us to take the next step to actually seriously consider, in good conscience, what can you do with gesture technology? There's a graveyard of other companies in the past that have tried to do this from Boston and beyond. But here now in Boston at Peke Labs, we're making the first wearable gesture technology that works and that everyone can use. So reach out if you're interested in learning more, either as an investor, an advisor, or a future employee.
Excellent. And with that, we're going to wrap it up here. Thane, thanks for coming.
Yeah, anytime.
One of those.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
And we'll see you all in the next one. Thanks very much.
All right. Thanks.